some mornings are harder than others, like, but then in a way, because we go swimming often at Warbs Bay Beach in Bicheno, but even there's one particular sort of weather that psychologically I'm standing there on the deck and I'm the surf club and I'm thinking, I don't know what, I'm just about to take all my clothes off. I have my bathers on. I'm about to stand in gale force winds with rain. And then I walk down to that edge. It's happened to me a few times now. I've walked down to the edge of the shore and the rain has hit my back, my skin. And it's almost like, and it hurts a bit, and I'm freezing. But it's like a gift, because it's like the same time, it's like there's this hand reaching out, going, it's okay, because that when you get in, life is going to be so beautiful today. Yeah. No matter what comes during that day, I'm able to handle it better if I swim than if I don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're braver than me, because I wouldn't be doing it. I will go out walking when it's cold and it's windy.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's wet. And you go along the beach after there's been a storm. And during COVID, when we had lockdown, you wouldn't understand what lockdown is down there. And you would see half the rubbish blow up onto the beach than what was when we were in normal life. Whatever normal life is these days. Yeah. So it was really nice, and there were hardly any cars on the road, and people were out exercising and families came together and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, and it gives you that vitality, the wind blowing through your hair or on your face, and you just feel something different, don't you?
Absolutely. And I mean, this was a thing that I found fascinating that my partner taught me was how when we're born we have this brown fat as babies and we can't actually shiver. This is my understanding anyway. We haven't learnt yet that shivering, the body doesn't do it, so it has this brown fat. And then, of course, we grow up and we learn how to shiver, and this is part of our way of keeping warm. And we lose our brown fat. So what happens when we keep on going in the ocean or other forms of, if we dunk ourselves in ice or whatever turns you on, anything like that, cold showers for long periods of time, day after day, our brown fat can actually start to return. And the great thing is that when that happens, it means that our experiences in the water aren't as so-called, as one would imagine. So, well, how on earth can you just go into that cold water all the time? Well, the brown fat is forming, which means it's not so much of a shock. It means we've got a bit of a secret.
An insulation.
You know what I mean? Yeah. This little bit of insulation. It's quite a comforting thought, that. But the other, I got into swimming because I had a hip injury. My partner did the Wim Hof course, and he told me that cold water can help with pain. And this particular day I was very in a huge amount of pain, crying from pain actually this morning. So I thought, right, that's it. So middle of winter, and I walked in slowly up to just above my hip, and I said to him, I'll just go to my hip. I'll just go to that. Yep. But then gradually I started to get used to that feeling, and I went in. And then the next morning I did the same. Now, a pain level of 9 dropped down to 4 after just 2 freezing cold immersions. And after that I got hooked. I have no pain. Fantastic. I've been doing this for 4 years now. But, of course, the really, really special thing for me is that I have a connection to what's happening underneath. And
because that's your intuition. That's your spirituality.
That's my spirituality. Yeah. That's and that's why I say there's nothing that I paint that I have seen.
Right. Okay. So it's
just what I feel. People can look at some of I've got a print actually of one of my earlier works called Pelagia, which means Latin for of the sea. And they look like pods, you know, like those kelp pods. Or to some people, they look like stingrays. To other people, they look like fish. To other people, they might look slightly sperm-like. I don't know. You know, everyone has a story when they look at art. They have their own personal story because everyone has their own amazing journey in life. And so they're looking at through their lenses in their whole being. So
it's the vision that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when I look at some art and I can see something in it, and someone standing beside me will see something completely different in it. And you have that conversation and you say, but can't you see that? And they'll say no. And then you start really looking at it and you can actually see what they're seeing and they can see what you're seeing.
That's true.
You have to open up and be able to open up to that, because you know, it's our imagination and bringing that out and looking at something in a different way, because we always, through our lenses, look at things in the same way instead of having that, taking off the blinkers and seeing it for what it actually is, or feeling it for what it actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
So, no, you go.
I had an exhibition at a gallery in Bicheno. There used to be a gallery there called Warbs Bay Gallery, run by Vanessa Richardson, who's an amazing artist in her own right. And I had a connection. I had a relationship, business, and friendship with that gallery and with Vanessa for 5-6 years, long time. And my very first exhibition at Warbs Bay Gallery, and this man comes up to me and he goes, so what's it all mean? What does your work, what is your work about? What is it? What's that, for instance? And he was pointing to all these things. And he actually did me a great, he put me on the spot. He did me a great service, because in my vulnerability, I had gone into that exhibition with no verbal, nothing, you know, written down about what on earth I actually had created. And on the spot, I just stood back and I looked at my own work through,
which you'd never really done, through someone else's eyes.
Through someone else's eyes, but also through my eyes. So also through my lens, but a different part of my brain. So this man was needing, in a way, an explanation. And I think that some people like an explanation of art. They want to understand, where was the artist when they were creating this? What does it mean? Does it have a message?
All art has the message, doesn't it? It depends on how each of us interprets that piece of art. It's
true. And then an artist might be on a mission, for instance, to produce work that portrays a message. It could be a message about, the environment, for instance. So what happened was I realised that my work had a marine feel. It was pretty strong and nothing planned. That's just what happened. And then there was a thing that was happening as I create, because some of my work has about 15 layers, and I use pointillism, so fine dot work to actually bring the art out, to make it 3D. I've got no idea how many dots I've done since I've been creating, but none of it is ever flicked. No paint is flicked. It's all dots by hand.
How long does it take you to do one piece?
It depends, obviously, the size, but sometimes up to 4 months.
Yeah.
Easily, if not more, some of the big ones. Anyway, so these pods, or whatever you want to call them, they actually had this life coming out of them. That's what I saw. And some people have thought they're like little eggs, little sperm.
From where I'm looking now, this is the painting that you're referring to here, they look like fish, and the bubbles are the air that's coming out of them. Yes. That's what I'm interpreting at the moment.
Which represents life.
Yes.
to me, that's what I was saying to him. I can't remember my exact words, but it was, this is about life. This is about the ocean. This is about our life. This is about our connection. This is about keeping our gift of the ocean as pristine. This is about looking deeper and deeper and deeper. You know, we go snorkeling, we go diving, we see the fish, we see the kelp, we see the seals, the dolphins, the whales, all these gifts. But I realized my art was asking people to go far deeper than that. I'm talking cellular level. I'm talking really, really small, because that's where life starts. So my work, I believe now, has a message. The message is, this is what we have. This is what in pockets we are losing. This is what we can keep hold of by this connection that in some cases we've lost.
And, you know, it's keeping hold of the beauty of the underwater. And underwater, it's magical, absolutely magical. And what we're losing is we're being fished out, and the ecosystem, there's all sorts of things happening with it, the environment. And the underwater environment is the same as the outside environment. It's been
absolutely
by so many different things, and it could be the boats with that butane, whatever it is on the bottom of it that they clean their boats with. All sorts of things that can happen and destroy the ecosystem and what's growing in the water, what lives in the water.
What lives in the water, that's right. And of course, of which we can't live without.
Absolutely.
And that's that connection. And I just feel that through the slowing down of our lives, forced slowing down, I hear so many more people, which is really beautiful to hear, that they are actually going out and doing things and reconnecting. I'm looking all around. I look straight down onto the water. I've got gum trees. I've got birds. I've got, you know, I've trained myself to go out and look deeper and deeper and deeper, you know, almost stripping away what's visible to the eye and going.
But that's what you do with your art. You start with a plain canvas, and then you start to put something on it, and then you see something else, and you layer it until it actually comes to life for you.
It does come to life for me. And I also use, as well as pointillism, I also use fabrics, whether it be linen, whether it be some of my own clothing. I used to wear these beaded tops. I've cut them up many years ago and stuck them on, and there's even feathers, but I hide things as well. You know, like when people look at my work, they keep on finding things, and that's what I want. I want people to, you know, to feel this joy. Some people have remarked about my work as being a high vibration art. So, you know, it lifts people's vibrations. It lifts their energy. So I've been told when they look at it.
But it also creates a curiosity to want to know more. So it brings in an excitement. And I'm just thinking, you know, the books, Where's Wally? You're creating art to say, where's the next thing? Where's that thing that's hidden, that when you look hard enough, you will actually see it. And it's going within, taking off the blinkers and really feeling what's on that canvas, so that you can actually go into that painting and imagine and then see what's there that you haven't seen before. Is that what I'm saying?
That's certainly definitely a good explanation. Some of it, that's why I find it quite hard to articulate, because I can get moved to tears when I try to articulate how I feel when I'm seeing creatures under the ocean, or when I'm walking through the bush, or where, you know, things like, for instance, I'm very big on symbolism or meanings of things, like, you know, oh, well, that means, so thus that means that. And that's like, to me, that's a message that I get messages all the time from my environment. It's just continual on not just, oh, well, that's a beautiful tree. It's like, oh my gosh, I just have to go over. I have to hold it. And when I'm swimming, for instance, there was this beautiful time where we're living part-time in Bishano, there's this beautiful beach in front of our block. And some days
I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Some days it's really rough. Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And this particular day, I thought, right, well, I'll just lull about in the, near the shoreline.
The rock pools.
Yeah. and the waves, like I had my goggles on and everything, and the waves were just throwing me and all the seaweeds and the sand and the pebbles and all these other little things, all these other little different colours of mashed up ocean bits were just all turbulent all around me. And I often close my eyes partially and it becomes abstract. I do that when I'm painting. I'll close my eyes and I step back, a bit, and it makes things move and blend, and I feel more, I go deeper. And so this particular day, really rough, so I'm not going to go out too far. And then all of a sudden, this group of baby mullet, about this big, just appeared out of the blue, right next to me. And they were all in this, uniform.
As they are.
Yeah.
A school of fish. Yeah.
They weren't being battered around or flying this way. They were peaceful. And they swam next to me in this beautiful school. And we were just side by side in this turbulent world, both of us maintaining this peace. And so that was a message for me. So, the message was, and can be so much happening around me. Find that place of stillness, Robbie. That's what it was.
Do you ever take the bull kelp out and use it in your art?
I have not done that. But I would say there's a high chance I will.
Yes, and you know what? You can make things out of that bull kelp. It's absolutely amazing once it's dried.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, all sorts of things that you can actually make out of the bull kelp. So gather it and use your imagination, because I think that what you can create from that would be quite amazing.
Well, we actually got a book from my partner's mum today for Christmas, and part of that was all about collecting seaweeds and kelps. So I'll look into that deeper. The other thing, Faye, was this beautiful, there's these, I call them like a little, the gorgeous granite rocks on the east coast of Tassie.
Yes.
So incredible. And it was sort of like a little gutter. So there were granite rocks either side, and we have these beautiful reef fish, and they sort of like I sort of call these guys at our beach, you're pretty sort of, everything's pretty good type fish, we'll just swim along here nice and calmly, and life's calm and great, and then I've got the other big fish that see me like they like dragonfish, and as soon as they see me they just fly off like a jet, but these particular fish with the stripes, they play in this gutter, so when the current goes out they go with it, and then they come back in, and then they come back in. So they do it continuously, and I'm sure they're having fun. That's what it looks like, because they're not. Yeah, it's not as though they're being pushed really violent. I mean, sometimes obviously they are big currents, backwards and forwards, but often they're not. Often they're just going in this really gentle current, and so I would wait at the other end, you see, knowing that they'd come back. And most of them just see me and look at me, and I make an eye connection, and I make a soul connection, and all those feelings that I get, a simple, like, what was it, a tiny skate about this big and a flathead sitting next to each other on the bottom of the sand in Warbs Bay.
Wow.
I mean, what on earth were they doing? It was the funniest little thing to see. It was like they were having a conversation,
Just hold that. That conversation. We'll be back in a moment.